my name is Busayo Ojo, and I'm a technical writer. That's my full time role. That's what I do full time. And in open source, I'm a programs manager. And thankfully, today we're talking about open source and how you can kickstart your career with little to no experience. I'm a tested person that has experienced this. So that Burner Boy song, tested, approved, and trusted. I think you can trust me on this. Okay, so one thing I like to do at every session I have is to let the audience know the benefit of this session that they'll be attending. And by the end of this session, how many of us here know what open source is? Not so many people. Okay, I'll ask this question again by the end, and I believe we should have answers and more responses. So, at the end of this session, I believe everyone should be able to understand the basics of open source. What is open source? Why does open source exist? Why do we have people that are on Twitter talking about open source? Hopefully, if we have enough time, we'll be able to see how you can make your first contribution to an open source project. You also learn how to get into open source communities, open source projects, and we'll talk about open source internships. Because for every newbie in tech, I always preach the internship gospel as the fastest route. So we're going to see how you can start with any internship of your choice. So an icebreaker. You know how they always say, please start with icebreakers so that your audience are captivated. Please, you people should answer. So there is two truths and a lie here. So the first question is, it's necessary to request permission from the project owner before contributing to an open source project. Do we think this is true or it's a lie? Okay, it's a lie. Okay, fine. Chorus answer. Thank you. The next one is, you can contribute to open source without writing code. What do we think? True. Open source licenses are legally binding. I'm hearing Which is it? True. Okay, now let's see if we're right. So yes, please give yourselves a round of applause. You're actually very correct. So this is a lie. With open source projects, feel free to walk into any community. Feel free to go to any GitHub repo and start contributing. You do not have to ask anybody because most times, who do you even want to ask? The person that started that project might have left, might have handed it over to another community. The next one, yes, you can contribute to open source without writing code. The only time I wrote code in open source was in 2021 when I was just getting started. And ever since then, I've explored different facets of open source and I haven't touched the line of code ever since. And yes, open source licenses are legally binding. So you cannot say, oh, you have an open source project, you want to use an open source project, and you do not acknowledge the license. Some of the popular ones are Common Creative and so on. So, what is open source? So, to explain it simply, there is this. I do not know if a lot of people still remember. There was this Vicky James image one time that she posted online. She had bidders, she had designers. I thought I had that picture on this slide. So basically, she showed how everyone came together to create a beautiful dress. So that is the same thing with open source. People with different skills, different backgrounds, different countries, different locations, they come together to build something, to build a project, a community. And I've noticed something as somebody that has been contributing to open source for quite a number of time or for a period of time. The progress with open source is changing, it's getting faster. And I think that's because some people have been doing serious work with pushing this open source news. You might know some of them, you might not, but I think they have done amazing work in pushing the gospel of open source. So we see people from different countries. I've been opportune to work with people in different countries with different levels of experiences from different companies that I myself would never have thought of working with. And we see that we ship things faster, problems get solved faster. We also learn from each other. I have been able to be a mentee to some amazing mentors. I myself have also gone ahead to become a mentor to certain people. So by collaborating together, we see that people are learning new skills. I mean, when I started in tech, I had no idea that I could be a programs manager or even a technical writer because my first contribution to documentation was actually through technical writing. So now, on to the next slide. Why does open source matter for your career? Because that's literally the point of why you're here. Why should you, as an audience here, now start contributing to open source? So first off, skill development. You learn a lot of skills. I've used myself as an example. I was not a technical writer. I started out when during the pandemic. Yeah, let me mention that. When everyone was talking about tech, 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 tech. And I was like, what is this tech thing now? Okay, so I started with front end and I wasn't understanding. I joined She Code Africa. Then I met a friend, Ruth, and she now said, okay, there's this open source thing. Would you be interested in doing it? And that is it. I've developed so many skills, even the skill of public speaking. I don't think I was this fluent at my first talk that I gave, but you get to build skills, you get to talk to people. Now, real world experience. How many of us have heard of tutorial hell? Do you want to tell? Does anyone want to tell us the meaning? Anyone? Okay, there's someone there, please. Can we? Is there a mic? Okay.
So tutorial simply means constant learning without implementing.
Thank you so much. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Thank you very much. So that is actually a thing, and it exists. I've seen multiple people. Coursera, they are there. Udemy, they are there. Twitter courses, they are there. Old school, they are there. But you keep learning, learning, learning. You're implementing nothing. So you're stuck in a loophole. Okay, I don't think I can do it yet. Another tutorial. I don't think I'm qualified yet. Another tutorial. But with open source, you get to work on real life projects. And there's one thing with seeing the impact of what you're doing, seeing that there's actually something coming out of what you're doing, and seeing people use your software. If it's a software you're using, you're building, seeing people use that software. If it's a documentation you're writing, seeing people read that documentation, it solves developers' problem. If it's an event you're even organizing, seeing people come to your event. I know the organizers of DevFest must be very proud of themselves today because they've put in so much work, and to see all of us gathered here today, it's something amazing. And sometimes, if you're just stuck with tutorials and learning, you just might not actualize that. Networking. The importance of networking can never be underestimated because networking can literally take your career from here to here. Fun fact, I'll use myself as another example. I did not I did not think I would speak at DevFest today. I did not submit a talk. But someone reached out and said, oh, somebody said you'd be great for this. And I think that's the power of networking. That's the power of knowing the right person to put you on. Right? The last speaker, he said, even if you submit a talk and you're not selected, if you know someone, you just might get in. Right? So the importance of networking can never be overemphasized. And open source puts you in the same space sometimes with global leaders. Sometimes I'm in a meeting. I'm very active in the chaos community, or yeah, I've been quiet for a little bit now. But I've been in meeting with OSPO leaders at Google, at Meta. I've seen these people talk. I've seen for my internship, I worked with Sean Leap. He's a software developer. He was my mentor. He's a software developer at Google. And seeing how he works with people, seeing how he writes, seeing how he just puts things together. I think that really helped me. And he has given me a very good recommendation. I never know the day I would need that recommendation that he has given me. But I know that anytime I need it, I can always go back to pull it up. So networking, extremely important. Then another thing with open source, you're learning at your own pace. I've heard plenty people cry on Twitter about how difficult it is learning with a particular online learning platform, right? I also was a student of that platform and I had to quit because it wasn't working for me. But here with open source, you're learning at your own pace. if you want to take a break. For me, I've been on a break because we had KiosCon Africa in August, and I just told them, oh, I needed some time off, and I'll be back. I told them, give me a month or two, and I'll be back because I have that liberty. Nobody's holding you hostage. It's not your full time role. You get to pick your own time and choose if you or when you want to work. Another thing is recognition. I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't want to be recognized. Is there anybody? What's the whole point of it? Right? Make money, get people to know you. So you gain visibility in the tech community through your contributions. People see you, people you show up, people remember you, people talk about you. You see yourself on the internet, and sometimes that's all you need to cure your imposter syndrome, right? So teamwork, you learn how to work with different people. You learn how to work with people in different time zones. So when I joined some open source communities, I always wanted feedback immediately because I was like, can they not respond to me? Can they not give me feedback? But I had to realize that wait, me, I'm in Nigeria here. Another person might be in California. Another person might be in China. I have to give them time. And at my first remote job, that also helped me because I knew how to work with people from different walks of life, different background, different home trainings, different time zones. And another good thing about open source is career opportunities. I have friends that they are not in the country today because there is a tech event in Buenos Aires and they have been invited out of their pockets, right? So open source, I think, is a very fast way to get your career from 0 to 100. And paid opportunities. So, paid opportunities, I know that's why many of us are here. There is a lot of paid opportunities with open source. Small ones, big ones, and we'll talk about that later on in the slide. So, no matter what you do, there is always a role for you in open source. Are you a designer? Are you good with teaching? Are you good with writing? Are you good at testing software? Are you good at marketing? Are you good at content creation? There is something for you in whatever open source community you can find. So choosing the right project. So now you've said, okay, I've heard about open source. How then do I choose the community? How do I find this community? You need to first understand what that community is doing. I've seen people go into communities and within a month or two they're out or they didn't even participate because one, they had no idea what that project was all about. So first you need to understand why that project exists. At Chaos, when I joined, I was clueless because I didn't know what was going on and I was just there. But the good thing, which takes us to the next point, is community engagement. When I joined, yes, I didn't know what was going on. But I did not just sit down there and think somebody would come and help me or somebody would come and hold my hand. I started joining meetings. And from joining those meetings, I heard about things that, okay, I think I can work on. My first project with Chaos was the badging project. So I joined Chaos as a badger. And since then, I've gone on to do so many other things for that community. And I'm still doing with that community. And I know for sure that they very well appreciate all the work I've done. Another thing with open source is you have to start small. Some people want to do everything so that okay, Busayo has said so many things today. I want them to notice me fast. I want to start making that money fast. You will just jump into it, and I promise you, you get burnt out, and you get yourself out of that project. So it's always better to put out quality work as opposed to just putting out a lot of stuff. So if you can focus on just one thing first and just say, okay, I'm very good at design. I think I'll be helpful to the design team at this community. Chaos, She Code Africa, whichever community, whichever open source community choose to join, just stay there, focus on that, work on that for quite a number of time. Let them know you as a champion at that thing. So that when there's other things that they think you'll be a great fit for, you're the first person they will think of calling. So we've talked about the mission and impact of the project. So that is also exists. So seek feedback. you do not want to just keep working and working and working without getting any feedback. Like I said, I have, and like the host said, she has a lot of mentors. I have a lot of mentors as well, or I had people that I look up to, people that give me feedback. If they say, "Busa, you're doing bullshit," they tell me. I'm somebody that I tend to be very shy about putting myself out there on social media. I have a friend that's always on my neck. Why have you not posted this? Why I see her as a friend now, but she started off as a mentor. Why are you shying away from this? So seek feedback because this feedback can really help improve your career, improve your community engagement, improve the trajectory of your entire life. So, where do you find these open source projects? So, GitHub is a very good place. How many of us are familiar with GitHub here? Yes, this is a developer conference. I know quite a number of us are familiar with that. So GitHub, you can just search. I think there's a way to filter and search for products with projects with hashtags, good first issues, open source, help wanted. Most times, any place you see those type of tags, they're usually open source projects. So you can just get started with any issue that they have. GitLab is also another good place. Open Source Friday is amazing. I plugged my community in there. Chaos Africa. So if you're thinking of getting started fast, like I said, at Chaos, we now have something that can actually help you hold your hand. We have a newcomers guide and newcomers meeting for new joiners. So if you're interested in joining Chaos Africa, you can reach out to me because I don't think you can access that link from here. So we have quite a number of places. You can take a picture if you want. Okay. Why is it not moving? Hey. So now let's talk about internships. This is a student gathering, I believe, and internships are very important for students. So your GitHub, that community you're in, can now become your portfolio. Your LinkedIn, that can become your portfolio that proves that, oh, you can do the job. You can still be in 200, 300 level. When I started contributing to open source, I was still a student, right? And my first job, my first real life job, nobody asked for um anything significant, right? They just wanted to see, oh, what have you done in the past? Oh, Busayo, I heard that you are great at this. I heard that you're a great technical writer. Can I see? And that was it. I just said, oh, I've worked here, I've done this in these communities, and literally that was it. So you get to stand out. A lot of people, as I said, certificates, Coursera, Udemy, but some of them, tutorial hell, they're just stuck doing the same thing over and over again. But you get to contribute to actual projects, you get to contribute to real life stuff that people can see, and I think that's amazing, right? The co host, I'm going to reference her again. She's hosting now, right? She just left the stage. If she ever wants to prove to someone that, oh, I've hosted an event, it's just to pull up a video of her here and they'll say, oh, you did an amazing job. Bam, take that gig. That's the end. That's literally how it works with open source. So you get global opportunities, Google Summer of Code, Outreachy, MLH Fellowship. Sometimes some of these communities, when they have their internships open, they pick people from their community, right? They pick people that have already participated and they've seen the work rates. They would rather pick somebody that they are familiar. I'm not saying that's how it works for all communities, but I've seen it happen live and direct. So let's now talk about outreachy. How many of us know outreachy here? Yay, few hands. Okay, I know that by the end of this talk, everybody will check for what outreachy is. So outreachy is for anyone who I'm talking about outreachy because I have participated in outreachy. So outreachy is for anyone who faces systemic bias, discrimination, whether you're marginalized in the industry or in the locality. And first off, I'll use myself, I'm a woman. Women, though now, women are plenty in tech, but it wasn't the norm. But for the guys here as well, in Africa, there's still a bias that boys are doing fraud, right? So I think it's still a great opportunity. But particularly for girls, for women, you can leverage the fact that you are underrepresented in the tech community and use that to get into outreaching. So, what are some of the internships that they have? Excuse me. They have for programming, they have for research, they have for user experience, documentation, graphics design, data science, and marketing. So, these are quite a few. I think they've improved on the scope of projects, right? That they now even have. So all of these are things you can do. So what is the benefit of outreaching? Outreach is paid. Outreach pays you. You work for 3 months, and they pay you $7,000 for that 3 months. So I did mine in 2022, right? And see the dollar rate. So if you do outreach today now, dollar is about 1415. I won't say more than that. So another benefit of outreach is fully remote. You don't have to be anywhere. Though if you're a student, they might ask for your availability and how much work you can do. But you and your mentor work fully online. And the internship, as I said, is for just about 3 months. So they pay you about 2,000 something dollars for each of those months. And there's an hour limit. So it's not like they're expending you so much or they expect you to do so much. So you do your internship tax. Okay. So there is a cohort, though I think they've selected applications for December, but by January, they'll open up a new cohort of outreachy and it runs from May to August and December to March. So outreachy is a very my first panel session that I did at Oscar Fest was me talking about outreachy and how outreachy has helped my life and all of that story, right? So as I said, let me go up. There is quite a number of other internships. You can get this picture so you know how to look for other ones. GSOC, GSWORD, MLH. There are some others that I myself do not necessarily know, but I know that these internships exist. So how can you now, after all you've heard today, how can you contribute effectively? First, you have to be vocal. You have to ask questions. You have to speak in those communities. If you are silent, nobody will know you. Nobody will know how to help you. I've seen people come in, for example, at Chaos, right? The only reason we started having this newcomer walkthrough is because it became a recurring issue that we didn't just want to have people come into the community and be clueless and not know what they're supposed to do or where next to go. So we said, okay, let's have this entire team dedicated to that. But that's because one person spoke up about the issue they were facing of not finding their foot quickly in the community. Next is ask questions. Introduce yourself during meetings. I know a lot of us might be shy here in Nigeria. I always thought to just be gentle, take it easy, don't go hard at it. But it can't work. You're not dealing with just Nigerians. You want people to know you. You want people to know the work you can do. You have to speak up for yourself. Also be patient. Sometimes it takes time. It's not that you will join the community today and you become the community lead tomorrow or you're on the board tomorrow. It doesn't necessarily work like that. Sometimes you have to be patient. Then they might give you feedback that you do not necessarily like. My mentor Sean, he he's a very blunt person. He doesn't know how we know how to do not hurt that person's feelings, mind your word, be careful. Most of them were not trained like that. So sometimes they might give you feedback, just take it. As long as it's constructive, it addresses a point, okay. And you know that okay, you can actually do better. Take that feedback, work on it, and do better. Lastly, create a niche for yourself. If you're a good designer, just stay there. I'm not saying don't explore, but if you find something fast and you're really good at it, I think it's always good to sit with it, get better, and be the best person possible. That so that anytime they say, "Oh, we need a designer for this thing," you're the first person they call. The design lead, Kingsley, has a talk here later this week. He is no, but nothing about design in chaos that he will not call Kingsley. He might not ask to delegate it to others, but Kingsley is first. And that's because he has become amazing at whatever it is that he's doing. So I hope that, okay, let's ask that question again. How many of us now know about open source? Okay, that's great. Thank you. So I believe and I have seen that open source is a good way to get your career started as a newbie. So it has worked for me. It has worked for quite a number of my friends. And I believe that it can work for you too, right? You might already have amazing stuff you're already doing, which is fine and good. I'm not saying leave that. But open source is something you can do on the side. Start contributing today. And who knows, maybe this time next year, next DevFest, you'll be the one telling others about this whole open source gospel. So thank you so much, everyone. I'd encourage you to start contributing from today. So I don't know if you have questions for me, if anybody has questions.
Okay, so my name is Abdul Hakim, or so most people call me Sage.
Okay.
Um, you said something about contributing to open source as someone who probably loves to mentor people or someone who loves to teach people.
Yeah.
I wanted you to like make clarity about that aspect.
Okay, to talk about that. So for you to be able to teach others, there has to be proof that you know what exactly you want to teach about. So you cannot necessarily just come into any, except you've built a good portfolio for yourself, right? Before coming into that community. It won't be easy for you to just join, let's say, Chaos today and say, oh, you think you're an amazing mentor. They'll first ask, okay, what have you done? Where is proof of what you've done? Where are people that you've mentored, right? So it might take a while before you get to that stage. Like I said, I was an intern my first. I had multiple mentors before I myself became a mentor. Does that answer your question? Okay, I think somebody else has a question. That's the last one I'll take. Anybody else, you can reach out to me for other questions. That's my LinkedIn and that's my Twitter. Though on Twitter, you probably not get the response, but I'll try. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. What's the filtering process like?
About Richie, how harsh is it?
So, I personally do not know because I am not a reviewer for outreach, right? But based on what I said earlier, they look for people that have experienced systemic bias. Maybe there is a reason why you cannot get a job, right? Or there's something that you think, oh, you're not really good at. Maybe you have a disability. Like I said, in Nigeria, we are already marginalized by birth. There's no NEPA, there's no internet. That is, they do not experience that. So I think if you know how to narrate your story well and explain yourself and prove to them that you are marginalized, Nigerian boys are seen as Yahoo boys if you have money. That is the narrative. If you know how to put that together, package it well, they might pick you. I've had male friends that have gotten into outreach. So thank you so much, everyone. If we have more questions, please feel free to ask them whenever you're ready. Thank you.